One question that I've been asked lately is what advice I'd have for struggling writers or struggling authors, which seems a little interesting for me because I'm a struggling author myself. I mean, I'm self-published, but I've got a long way to climb to get to where I want to be. It's my dream, you might say my immediate dream or my immediate goal, to work on what I've been working on with self-publishing and promoting my books, and then getting into a position where I can quit my day job, or my night job technically, since I clean offices at night. That's what I do to pay the bills. But if I could get into a position where I could just live a humble existence, I don't mean a huge amount of money, I just mean if I could get into the place where I could pay my bills through my book sales, that would be a dream come true right there. And so that's my immediate goal. Now, I don't know how to put this. I'm not a competitive person for the most part. It's not like everything I do I've got to be the best at. I'm not like that. There are people who are like that. Some people are real jerks about it. Some people are competitive, but they're nice people. They're just competitive. So, you either take them for as they are or you don't, I guess, So there's nothing wrong with being competitive. It's just that I'm just saying, for me, I'm not a competitive person for the most part. I don't necessarily care if I play a game with you, like say a board game. We sit down, a few of us, hypothetically, we play a board game. Now, it's not like I have to win. I'm going to try to win, but if I don't win, I'm fine. I can have a great time losing, I mean, it kind of sucks when you lose, but I mean, I don't know how to put it, I enjoy the experience, I guess I should say. I'm not all about winning all the time, but I am ambitious when it comes to what feels important to me. I've always wanted to become successful at something in life, and the arts is what my goal has been, really trying to make it in the arts. And I've gone back and forth between different mediums. As I used to be in theater at one point, but I kind of got tired of the social politics of that. Same thing with the world of art galleries, and I don't mean to imply that every art gallery is the same or that people that go to art galleries are all the same, but my experience has been fairly negative. I have found a lot of elitism in the arts, which offends me as someone that can, how do I put this? I can dress up in pretty nice clothes, or I can wear just an old t-shirt and jeans. I'm not a showy kind of person. I'm really socially, I'm pretty quiet usually. I'm a good listener. I'm not really someone that's like, hey, look at me, I'm coming through. That's not me at all. I'm not an extrovert. And there's nothing wrong with being an extrovert. I admire people who have a lot of confidence, and I love people who are, how do I put this, fearlessly genuine in an outgoing way. Those true extroverts where they carry their heart in their sleeve. It seems kind of rare. A lot of times people try to act that way. That's not really the case, but on a rare occasion when I meet someone like that, I admire that. There's nothing wrong with being an extrovert, just that I'm more of an introvert, and I tend to find a lot of a socially aggressive attitude, and a really kind of like, I'm going to walk all over you to get to where I need to be. I'm going to make you out to be a bad person so I look like a good person, and I'm going to make you seem unimportant so I seem more important, I'm sorry, to me that's disgusting. It disgusts me. It always has, and I never wanted any part of that. I love the arts. I love the culture. I love being on stage and performing in front of a crowd. Even though I was an introvert, I was like an extrovert on stage. It was a great way for me to kind of like come out of my shell a bit as a shy person. And it was a great experience being on stage. Whether you're a musician or any kind of performance artist, it's quite an experience. It's like a whole other world, as I've heard people say. And again, music, acting, any of that, when you're up on stage in front of a large number of people, it's like, God, it makes you feel kind of godly, which is kind of scary. When I first got into theater when I was young, it felt like I was, it's just on a side note, it feels weird to just be sitting here just talking about myself, but I guess that's part of vlogging, I feel like I should be talking more about the world around me, but I guess you don't really come here to listen to an author talk about what's going on in the world. There's lots of videos like that. So anyway, back to talking about myself again. So yeah, I just personally found a lot of elitism and just, I don't know how to put it, horrible two-facedness and such in the arts. So even though I love art and culture, it's very important to me. It's all important to me, really, in a lot of ways. I hated the attitudes. I tend to find that it's all about networking. It's not about art and culture really much at all. It's all about who I am and where I can get to. You know, everyone wants to have some kind of glory, which I understand. You know, people see like a famous actor and they think, I want to be a famous actor. I want all that attention. Or they see a famous author being interviewed and it's like, I want to be a published author and a best-selling author. I mean, who wouldn't want that glory, right? But of course, it takes a lot of hard work and sacrifice to get there. And luck is always a factor. And a lot of people, they get there through networking. That's how it works these days, networking. And that, it so offends me on a number of levels because, again, I'm all about art and culture. I don't really give a damn about politics. I don't give a damn about your ego. You shouldn't give a damn about my ego. We all have ego. We all care about ourselves on some level, at least. And we should. You have to look after yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But you shouldn't have the attitude that, like, okay, hey, I'm in the room. I'm the one that matters here. You all should, you know, bow down and kiss my... I mean, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous attitude. I don't care if you're rich or famous or you're some, you know, undiscovered talent that wants to be. It doesn't matter. You're no more important than anyone else. You shouldn't carry yourself as some kind of egotistical maniac. But that so often is the case in the arts. It's ego-driven. It's not about art and culture. And you can see that in Hollywood, the state of things. You know, if I was going to make a big Hollywood production, as I would hope that as in anyone's case, if you're going to make a big Hollywood production that people are going to be investing hundreds of millions of dollars in, say, in some cases, a lot of cases these days with the big productions anyway, hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, guess what? If it's, say, a science fiction film, I'm going to go out looking for the very best science fiction writers out there. You know, if I need writers, I'm going to go for the very best. I'm going to look at who are the award-winning, or at least the authors in science fiction that are either established or that are new but making a good name for themselves. I'm going to look at who are the most respected in their field. For a director, I'll be looking at, you know, again, the award-winning directors, but also the ones that are talked about as being, again, whether they're really established or they're new and upcoming talents. I'm looking at, you know, who are the ones that are being talked about as the best. I'm going to look at their work and try to find the very best that I can get. But that's not at all how it works in Hollywood. No, you don't do that at all. In Hollywood, I'm using Hollywood as an example, but I mean this works in the comic book industry. It works in different creative industries where that's not at all what you do. You don't look for the best at all. You get Joe because you owe Joe a favor. He's helped you, now you're helping him. And then you get your cousin and you get your nephew because they want to be famous. They want to be, you know, of course, who doesn't, right? Most people probably in the modern world, at least on some level, have a dream or an aspiration or something, you know, something in them where if they had a chance to be rich and famous, that they would probably want that chance. If they didn't, you know, how do I put this? Success can certainly frighten people away. It can be scary to go from feeling like you're just another person in the world to being someone important. So, I mean, it can scare people. But if you're not scared, I think there's a part of, and why would you be scared in the first place? There's probably a part of you that wants that. And again, not everyone's like that, but in the modern world where, you know, fame and fortune has always been held up as the goal, I guess. In a way, it's like being a king or queen in the modern world. You know, having all the riches, having all the glory, and the idea that you don't have to get there through inheritance or, shall we say, assassinating or blackmailing your way into the throne. In the modern world, through networking, I guess, you can get yourself into a throne, so to speak. Metaphorically speaking, you can come into riches and power. And so a lot of people want that. Not everyone. Some people are more modest or more grounded. But there is a part of a lot of us, I think, that wants the glory. And I completely understand that. When I was young, I very much wanted that glory. And I'm sure there's a part of me that still does now. Like I say, my goals are a little bit, I don't know how to put this, less extravagant than they used to be. I would very much love, like I say, just to be able to live a humble existence off of my work, at this point. And I know it's going to take a long while to get there. But I believe that if you have the talent and you work hard and you sacrifice, that eventually you can achieve it. I think that it comes down to you more than anyone else. The short term, you can blame anyone. You can blame the world for, like, hey, I have talent, why isn't my talent being recognized? But I think in the end, it's down to you. And I could be wrong, and I'm sure there are exceptions. But generally speaking, I believe that if you have the talent, if you work hard and you sacrifice it, you can achieve. Again, but success is never going to be what you would want it to be in the end. It's always going to be different than you would think. It might be better, might be worse, but it's going to be different than what you would think, So you have to not think about, okay, I want to be there. There's this place of glory that I see in these celebrities and how they're living. And the thing is, the reality is very different than the pretense. A lot of these celebrities are messed up people. And I think that the times they're in right now is really exposing a lot of these celebrities, as they're isolated and they're bored and they're making real fools of themselves. A lot of people are realizing how stupid a lot of celebrities are. More specifically, perhaps, spoiled and not very worldly at all. Very much in their ivory towers and out of touch with reality. So, a lot of us already knew that, but a lot of people who didn't perhaps fully grasp it are seeing it more clearly now. So yeah, the reality tends to be very different. So if you look at, from an outside view, you're looking at a false view to begin with. I mean, you see, like, anyone that you look at, think, I want to be like that person, or I want to have what they have. You're not seeing the reality. You're seeing how they carry themselves, how they want the world to see themselves, right? How they want the world to interpret their success. It's not the reality of it at all. The reality of it's always going to be different. And like I say, it's like you have a path up a mountain. I'm going to get to the top of that mountain. That's never going to be what you think it is when you finally get there. It's always going to be different. And the exact path that you may have planned out to get to the top may not be the right path. You may find, like, oh, this is blocked. I'm going to have to go this way. And so you're going to have to, it's like a journey. Life is like a journey where you keep. Jordan Peterson is someone who has been good at explaining this sort of thing, where you have to keep changing your course. Like, you have a goal, you have a destination you want to get to, but you've got to kind of keep shifting, keep changing it. It's never going to be a straight line. And but the important thing is you keep going, you keep trying. And oh hell, everyone needs a reason to get out of bed in the morning, so to speak. You need to have a goal. You need to have some kind of ambition, even if it's just to support your loved ones, and nothing wrong with that, But everyone needs something to keep them motivated, something to care about, something to be passionate about, whatever that may be, And for me, it's I don't have a wife and kids. I'm a single guy who never really wanted to have kids of my own. My views on that may be slowly changing a bit, but I'm not sure about that. Still, having kids, it's a messed up world to have kids in. But the more time you spend in this messed up world, the more you kind of adapt to it and kind of develop an attitude of, oh well, so what? Oh Lord, I don't know. But I digress. What I'm saying is that for me, what kind of motivates me is my art and just wanting to see what I can do next and to work towards being able to be a self-supported artist, I guess, a self-supported storyteller. And it's just a matter of kind of trying to find my way there and to not give up. which is why I guess I'm back to making videos at a time when it seems silly to do so, but it's not really. You know, we all need to follow that inspiration, that passion that keeps us going. So, absolutely, you need to follow the call, so to speak. If you care about art and culture, then stay with it, keep going with it. Procrastination is something I've struggled with, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with. A lot of people have said, I want to write a book, and they never do. Or they say, I want to promote my book, and they hardly promote it at all. You've got to work long and hard at it. You know, a book is a lot of work. For me, I love writing. I have a passion for it, so it doesn't feel like work at all. It feels like play. But it is a lot of work, though. It takes a lot of time, a lot of mental energy to write a book, and then it takes a lot of effort to promote. And I'm still figuring out how to promote. But procrastination, I mean, that's the biggest enemy. And you've got to learn to do things. Stop the excuse of like, I'll get to it. That's the biggest thing, and I struggle with it. So I mean, I don't mean to be a hypocrite here. You know, I'm being honest that I struggle with the same thing. But it's something that we all have to work with. Is not to be not to always be putting things off to later. We need to act. If there's something you want to do it. I mean, that's the number one key to success. It sounds silly, and I've heard successful people say this. As dumb as it sounds, the best advice to achieve something is to do it. If you're a filmmaker and all you have is like your cell phone, then take your cell phone and make some videos. Get some friends together, some people that you know, even if it's just a small number of people, even if they're not good actors. Hell, you know, get together what you can and see what you can do with what you've got. Make a silly comedy or something if you feel like they're not good actors, and then don't pretend that it's something it's not. That's another key advice. With writers, they say write what you know. It's very important that you're being true. If you're deceiving yourself, therefore you're deceiving others, and people will see through it. What I mean by that is if you don't understand horror, you don't understand the horror genre, let's say, and you want to write a horror novel because you saw a horror movie you thought was really cool, you thought, oh, I can do that, and well, maybe you can. If you're a real artist, if you've got real inspiration, absolutely. Most of the time, though, that will turn out to be really bad because you don't know the genre nearly enough to write in it, you know, and so it comes through. So in the same way, if you're going to make like a little like independent film and you're going to bring people together and have them act and they're not good actors, pretending that they are could be a big mistake. I mean, could be, probably will be. You need to kind of work with what you've got, you know. So if you've got some crummy actors, well, then make a self-aware satirical movie, you know. Be honest. That's the thing. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the tools that you have, and you know, that's why you should really stick to what you know and what you're good at. As a writer, you have full control. That's the great thing about writing a book, is that you don't have to rely on others. You don't have to go through all these schedules and get everyone on the same page. You can just write when you feel like it. You have complete control to do whatever you want. And if you're going to self-publish, you really do have complete creative control. And that's great. The best thing about being a self-published author. No one's telling you what you can or can't do. And that is awesome to any creative soul. That's exactly the dream, I guess, of being able to create, to express whatever you want to express to the world, what feels important to you, what feels real to you. And that's the most important thing, besides the fact that you need to act, that you need to actually do what you say you're going to do, what you want to do. It doesn't matter. You could spend your whole life saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And you can have all the most wonderful excuses. That's fine. So do a lot of people who get nowhere. If you want to at least have a chance of really getting somewhere, you've got to stop talking and start doing. If you don't stop the excuses, and if you don't start to just act and to do what you want to do, you're never going to make it. If you don't do it right now, when are you going to do it? especially if you're off work right now, like a lot of people, and self-isolating. Why not? Why not? This is a great time. And if you don't, then when will you? That's the thing. That's the best advice, is to do. For me, I would also say I'm not big on regrets. I don't believe in regrets, because what can you do about the past? Just learn from it. But there are a couple of things I would do differently. For me, I would have gone to art school, because it would have given me a chance to connect to a lot of other artists. I mean, I was kind of a shy guy. I wasn't outgoing. I was brave enough, I guess, to put myself out there and sometimes to meet people a bit in my own shy way. But it would have given me a great opportunity to connect with a lot of people, to meet a lot of different artists. And like I say, I'm not big on networking, but let's be real. Connections are good. It's good to have connections. But to me, I'm about legitimate connections, being real, not being a user, which I know it's pretty cool to be a player these days, but hey, call me stubborn or whatever. It's not my thing. Again, teach their own, I guess, whatever. There's a lot of things in this world that I just don't understand. I will not participate in. But again, there's nothing wrong with making friends, with making connections. Nothing wrong with that at all. So long as you're being fair and honest with people and you're not just using them like objects, and that's fine. And so yeah, and art school would have been a great opportunity for me to really focus on my art. So I'm just checking the time here, so I'm gonna have to head to work shortly. So yeah, that's something I would have done differently, because it would have given me the time. But at the time, I mean, I was a little too arrogant, perhaps, because in my case, I had people that really knew their stuff. I'm not talking relatives or friends. I mean, people that had lots of experience in the arts, specifically the visual arts, and for writing as well. I had people that really, some really would have known, and they told me, how talented I was. And I took an art class one time, an actual art class, and what was that, grade 7 or something like that. And the art teacher said that I was the most talented student in her class, which surprised me, because I didn't really think that I was necessarily. Some of the other students, I thought, grabbed onto her techniques better than me. But then, for my own credit, I did eventually take on her techniques for painting. I mean, I was never big on painting. I was always like drawing. And painting is something I've hardly done since. And I didn't consider myself a very good painter at the time. But she believed in me. She thought I was the best in her class. And I had lots of people like that really should know, They would tell me that I was really good. I was really exceptional. So I guess it must have went to my head when I was young, I guess, because I didn't want to go to art school. I didn't want to be taught how to do what I felt was really God-gifted, To me, I always saw art as something spiritual, and I guess that's a whole other conversation. But to me, there's a spirituality to art, and you can't learn that. You either have it in you or you discover it in you. It's not that either you're an artist or you're not necessarily. Theoretically, maybe it's something that anyone could tap into with some soul searching, maybe. I don't know. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I do see it as a kind of gift, or a kind of, certainly as something that's sacred and not something you can be taught. So, I mean, the work of Joseph Campbell kind of goes into for me, the importance of art and culture, the spiritual significance. But again, that's another conversation. But another thing that I would have done differently is write short stories as an author. And when I eventually decided to focus on the writing more so than the visual art, and I knew at the time it was best to write short stories. But it's just something that I always felt myself to be a novelist. I wanted a larger canvas, you might say. I like developing a story, developing my characters. And I didn't like the restraint of only being able to write a short story. So I shied away from that, which is a mistake, because every short story you sell, you could call that a credit. So if you sold if you got published, and it's not that hard, 10 short stories, then you've got 10 credits. 20 short stories. The more you get published, the easier it is to get more, because people will take you more and more seriously. Getting those first few published would be the hardest, and in my opinion, it's not that hard. And that's just from my own experience, though. I never got a short story published, but there was a point where I did send out, I had written some short stories, and I sent them out, and it was 5 or 6 to 5 or 6 different magazines, without even knowing they'd be a good fit for them. Because I didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't really buy hardly any of those magazines to know if my story would even be a good fit for the magazine. None of my stories were published. Some of them I didn't hear back from. Some of them I did. One was a comedy that I didn't expect to hear back from that one, and they didn't publish it. They didn't think it was right for their magazine, but they did say that they all read it, and they were all laughing. They thought it was great. They just didn't think it was the right fit for their magazine, but it worked, so great. That was great. And then there was a science fiction story that I wrote that, again, that was rejected. In that case, they really liked it, and they thought it was good for their magazine. But they felt that the science was off, which doesn't surprise me at all, because I was never that into science. But they asked me to either get the science straight or to write a different science fiction story and to send it to them. And I wish I'd done that. At the time, I just thought, science fiction's not really my thing, so I moved on. And short stories wasn't really my thing, I felt. But yeah, hindsight, I should have focused more on short stories, because it's a great way to build yourself up and to make a name for yourself. People will take you more and more seriously the more that you publish. It shows that there's an interest in you, because ultimately it comes down to business. I wasted many years trying to get a book published, between 2 different books that I've written. And the second one, I knew it was good enough to be published, but I could not get an agent to be interested in representing me. And that's where I decided, okay, I'm going to self-publish. And that book became The Underdwellers, also known as Sick Nick. That was the second book that I self-published. That was the book that I tried getting published through an agent, that no one would bite at all on that one. And I felt, no, that book, I still believe, I don't know if this is arrogance or what, but I always felt that that book deserved to be published. And so that was where I decided, okay, I'm going to go into self-publishing. And self-publishing is hard, like everything else is hard. But you can do it. You can absolutely make it. I believe hard work and sacrifice. I'm on the same journey. So, I mean, if you're looking for advice of someone who has made it to the top of the mountain, then I guess I'm not the one to listen to. But if you're looking for advice from someone who's on the same journey as you, and maybe has been on the journey longer than you, and this is my advice. But a lot of my advice really comes from listening to people who have made it. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Take care and peace.